Everyone, welcome back. This is episode 147 of my brand new Comics Haul series. We'll show you guys all the new books that I pick up at my LCS every week. Pretty solid week. I've got 7 issues this week. I've got 3 from Image, which I'll actually start with this week, and then I've got 4 from Marvel. So I'll just get right into it here. Probably the biggest Image release of the week. I'm not sure how much hype there is surrounding this. I didn't hear too much about it before it came out, but I'm sure it's going to sell some good copies because it's got some big names behind it. We've got Moon Man #1, just a completely new, brand new, good, jumping on point and everything. It's not part of any connected universe. This is written by Kid Cudi, who I've never actually listened to any of his music, but I'm kind of interested in stuff like this where music artists or actors and stuff just come on to write a comic without any experience, since it's easy for them to get that type of work. But Kyle Higgins is actually co-writing this, so I think when a writer like that has support from an actual comics writer, going into it pretty blind like he probably is, it helps out a lot. Like Berserker could have completely failed, but it kind of managed to stay on its feet with the help of that writer that helped out Keanu Reeves, right? Let's look at some interior artwork here, though. I'm going to try to put out a review of this one since I'm really curious about it. Probably tonight if I have time, so look out for that one. As far as I know, this has to do with some kind of astronaut that went on like some kind of experimental spacecraft to the moon or something like that. I guess it must be the moon based on the title, right? And came back changed in some interesting way. I mean, we'll see. I really don't know about this. The artwork looks kind of cool. I like the kind of jagged art style, some good colors and everything. So we'll see how this turns out, but I'm going into this pretty blind, and I'm curious what you guys are thinking if you've already read it down in the comments. That's Moon Man #1. Next up, though, another one from Image Comics, pretty big release here. This is Duke #2. First of these G.I. Joe series to get a second issue, right? So we've just got a couple different miniseries within the G.I. Joe side of the Energon universe, which is really, really connected with Transformers, as we're getting to see with Duke and with Cobra Commander. We're getting to see like how humans really react to the Transformers being a part of this world and just trying to figure out what the deal is with the Energon energy that these Transformers actually need. I kind of like that it's all centered around like this larger force of the Transformers, which really is just like an alien race. So it's kind of a realistic take on what things might be like, how the military would respond and everything. So we see Duke like traumatized by his experience in that issue of Transformers where he had a run-in with one of them. He wants to like get to the bottom of what's going on, but he's kind of gone MIA and the government has like tracked him back down to go on one more expedition. I think they're trying to like build up to an ongoing G.I. Joe series at some point. And I've also gone into this one pretty blind. I don't know anything about Transformers or G.I. Joe, but Joshua Williamson, who's writing the G.I. Joe side of things, has been doing a good job of filling in and making sure people understand who the new characters are and everything. That's a big recommendation from me so far. Next up, though, the last issue I got from Image this week was World Tree #7. The last arc, this newer one, like the second arc of the series, I guess, started last issue with #6. I'm liking it. Honestly, I don't remember all the different plot threads exactly too well. I can't really keep track of all the characters quite yet, but it's about this group of engineers who, like, as teenagers or young adults, came up with this like world-ending computer virus that's able to like kind of manipulate people in the real world and possess them to do violent tasks. And now they've come together like 20 years later, or whatever the time gap is supposed to be, because it's popped back up in this World Tree virus that's like a level beyond the dark net. It's like, really reality shattering in an interesting way. They have to like come back together to try to bring it down again. There's a reporter who's a part of this. There's like a police investigator that's actually a really big part that I think this arc is kind of centering around based on these covers. I like the artwork for the most part. James Tynion is a great writer. Honestly, overall, I'm still really enjoying this. This is like really high on my top 10 comics of the year for last year. I just feel like they need to keep things moving and like really get to the bottom of what the virus is, since there's still so much mystery surrounding that. And 7 issues in, they still haven't fully gotten there. So definitely some more to be revealed in that title. Next up, though, with Marvel Comics, I've got Avengers Twilight. This is #2. It's just going to be a 6-issue series. We get Alex Ross covers, though, which is cool. You always know it's going to be a big release or like something that Marvel's proud of if they put Alex Ross in the covers. This is by Chip Zdarsky. It's his first work at Marvel since he finished that Daredevil run. And the art in here is by Daniel Acuna, which is really colorful. I'm liking the art style a lot. That first issue, a lot happened in it. It just set in this kind of like futuristic world. This is an off-world story, alternate universe type thing. Futuristic world where heroes are no more. They've been like codes against them, and I guess it's all kind of been monopolized by like the government, right? They have their own super team where they're kind of emulating what superheroes did for themselves back in the day. And Captain America and like a select few group of other Avengers are the only ones who are still around to kind of dispute what's going on. And then Tony Stark's son is going around in the world. He's free. He has like some representation of Iron Man going around, but he's not actually the one in the armor. And just kind of a dystopian look at what superheroes could be like in the future of the Marvel Universe. I like that first issue enough. It was a little bit depressing, but that's what you can expect from something like this. I just have faith in Chip Zdarsky telling a really good alternate universe story, like he has done with Spider-Man Life story, Spider-Man Spider Shadow, stuff like that. It seems to be his specialty at Marvel these days. So yeah, looking forward to this one. We'll see what he can do with 6 issues. Next up, though, from Marvel Comics onto the Spider-Man side of things, we got Carnage number 3. This one has been okay so far. It's done a good job following up on the previous Carnage run by Ram V, where we saw Carnage become like this godlike entity where he was taking over different villains' powers and going across the multiverse, trying to kill all the Venoms and Death of the Venomverse. He's had like a really long overarching arc to get him to his most powerful form over the last couple years. But now he's returned back to Earth and like created this new version of Cletus Cassidy within his own like Carnage symbiote, which I guess he has the power to do now since he's so powerful. I guess my main issue, like continuity-wise, is just why Carnage isn't taking advantage of his power more. Because we really got him as like this crazy, crazy version of himself that was gonna be like a threat to Venom, even to Eddie Brock's throne as the King in Black, and that seemed to be what Ram V was building towards, which I was excited for this whole time. But this new run is just, Torn Grombeck's new run is just him kind of going back to Earth and trying to like build a following around himself as a god, but not really making use of the powers that we've had built up for so long. This does have Flash Thompson in it, though, as Agent Anti-Venom. He's one of my favorite characters. I really loved the original Agent Venom run, so I'm happy to see him in this at least. But yeah, I'll stick with this for now. I'm still enjoying it for the most part. That's Carnage number 3. Next up, we got another Spider-Man related title, Spider-Boy number 3. This one, on the other hand, I think it's maybe a little bit too lighthearted for me. This might be my last issue of it. It's definitely not really going any different way than you might have expected from a Spider-Boy title based on all of his appearances in Spider-Man and Superior Spider-Man. He hasn't really been in anything outside of the Dan Slott issues that have been written centering around him since he became such a popular character and those issues were selling out and everything. So far, it just kind of feels like, why do we need an ongoing series for this character? It just feels like kind of an extension of the appearances we've already had by him, and you can still follow like most of the actual important Spider-Boy information in the Superior Spider-Man series, which he's still like co-starring in, where all the main Peter Parker stuff actually happens. So I'd just recommend picking up that, honestly. This is definitely maybe a little bit more kid-centered. It's like very, very lighthearted. But I've liked seeing Spider-Boy's interactions with other heroes. We got like a Captain America cameo last issue, and I do want to see him as a character like ongoing in the Spider-Man universe. I just like him as like a sidekick for Peter Parker. I think that's an interesting concept. It's never really been explored that much. So I might drop this, honestly. It's just not exactly up my alley. I'm not really sure who Dan Slott is trying to target with this series. I just don't really find myself caring too much about Spider-Boy yet, but I do want to see him, at least as a supporting character. They just might have jumped the gun a little bit on giving him like an ongoing supporting series. So we'll see about that one. Lastly, though, this is the last issue I picked up from Marvel this week. We've got Incredible Hulk. This is number 8. This, on the other hand, has been a really great ongoing series. You can tell that Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein have a really long-term plan for this, with the Mother of Monsters, or Mother of Horrors, I think, is what they're calling the main villain that they're alluding to, that seems to be tracking down Hulk and sending different monsters after him. She's got some kind of long-term plan for him. But mainly, the main part of this that I'm really enjoying is the dynamic between Hulk and this girl that he's found on the road who escaped like an abusive relationship with her dad and had to move out and is now just following Hulk around, but also having to switch between these alter egos of Bruce Banner and Hulk who have different relationships with her. It's interesting to have kind of like a middle ground where they both want to keep her safe, but they're kind of at war with each other also within their own psyche. The artwork in here is amazing. We've got good like body transformations, so Nick Klein going back to what Al Ewing was doing back in Immortal Hulk with those kinds of transformations, but also just really good fights and stuff. It's a very horror-centered series, and it's really sticking to that. So I'm liking it a lot so far. I'll stick with this one for sure. Incredible Hulk is a big recommendation. Those were the 7 issues I picked up this week. I want to know what you guys got, though. Let me know down in the comments section below. And look out for my review of Moon Man. I'll be trying to put that out later tonight. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.